What's going on? Coach Luca here from Vigor Ground Fitness and Performance. And today I'm going to go over the Turkish Get Up. Now, here's the thing. I'm going over the Turkish Get Up. We're not going to cut that out, okay? Because we can keep going with stuff like this. I'm going over it because we still get a lot of people that, either see videos or things like that or come into the facility that haven't ever done it and say, hey, what is that, right? And I don't want this to be a video about, hey, here's just how you do it and here's the form, because there's a lot of great videos out there by people that, dissect the Turkish Get Up and do it really well. So I will go over form to a certain degree, but what I also want to touch on is, why it's really good for everyone to use, in what situations we can switch it up, like how we can switch up variations in the form. Also, how we use it here at Vigor Ground, right? So those are the different things that I want to touch on. Now, for those of you that have never seen a Turkish Get Up, I'm going to take you through it and kind of show you what it's about, how we break it down, what are all the different things that work, because pretty much it works the whole body. So it's great for every single person, one, because it works the things that we need if we look at like life and how our bodies are meant to function, right? So hip mobility, so we want hip mobility, right? We don't want the hips to be stiff. We want core, so we want core stability. Right? Then we want thoracic mobility, which, we're gonna need to use here somewhat, and then shoulder mobility and stability here in the scapula, right? And also ankle mobility. So you kind of need all those things to get through a Turkish Get Up, and you can use them as a drill, obviously, to improve that. But I'll also talk about if you don't have certain things, how to regress it. Okay, so Turkish Get Up is complete full body movement, right? I'm gonna take a lighter kettlebell. Now here's the thing, you can do this with a dumbbell. You can do it with a dumbbell. Now we prefer kettlebells much more, and put it this way, just because when you have the kettlebell, it pulls you backwards posteriorly, working that shoulder blade stability here, right? Versus the dumbbell is straight down. So with people that have shoulder issues, or most people have restrictions in their shoulder, the kettlebell just allows you to kind of stabilize better. It takes the weight backwards versus forward. So if you're rounded, it can stress that shoulder, right? So the kettlebell is a little bit better for that. Now, if somebody has bad shoulder mobility, I'll go over that in a second. Okay, the way we set up with a kettlebell is we'll roll to the side, okay, like almost in this little fetal position. Grab it with two hands. I'm going to go light. I'm going to go light right now just for technique purpose, and I'm going to roll up, okay? My right foot is going to be in this bridge position. And many times, right, you can press it up with one. Usually it's not going to be heavy, and you shouldn't be going that heavy that you can't press it up unless you're really experienced, okay? Now from this position, okay, you can see I got straight lines, knuckles straight up, elbows locked out, shoulders not shrugged, it's packed. Or should I say it's packed? You shouldn't be aggressively packing it, but it should be centrated in the joint, right? In a nice way. Now, if I turn, you'll see this leg is out at an angle, and my arm is also going to be out at an angle, okay? The reason for it is the first part of the movement, I'm going to drive through the heel and push into the ground and into the elbow with this other side, right? So I'm going to hiss out to get my core engaged and punch up. Now, right now, you can see, I'm going to turn again so you can see better. Whoop, I'm on my elbow, right? From here, you can just extend, right? And you can notice that I'm always punching my knuckle to the ceiling. So it's a straight line. No matter where I am, it's a straight line. This other shoulder shouldn't be too far back because now I'm letting the shoulder fall forward, right? If it's too far forward, I don't have stability. So it's right on the side, and I'm kind of corkscrewing it down so I have a nice stable environment, okay? Now, up to this point, we're going to look at the bell because we want to stay safe with it. If anything ever happens, you just drop it away from your body, okay? Now I'm going to drive my hip up and bridge, and then I'm going to windshield wiper and turn this knee to the elbow, right? So I'm going to repeat that. Bell's always up, okay? So if I'm from this position, I'm just going to up the hip and then windshield wiper to the elbow, right? So you can see elbow, knee in the same place. And also I'm not out here, right? I'm right underneath. So there's a straight line from the bell right into the ground. So I have nice stability. So I could literally lean all my weight now onto this bottom shoulder and feel good because my joint is centrated, right? So it's in position, not falling out. From here, right, I'm just going to turn into a lunge. So I'm going to turn into a lunge, okay? Nice and straight, nice and forward, abs are nice and packed. Still straight line behind the ear, and then driving up into a lunge, okay? I'm going to just reverse engineer the movement now. So stepping back into a lunge. What I like to do is turn the hip, slide my hand down the quad so I can find the floor. I'm looking at the bell again, okay? Now I'm going to raise up a little bit, push this hip through, and sit right down, back down to the elbow, shoulders still nice tight. Use my abs to roll back down and bring it back down, and then turn, right? So that was the Turkish Get Up. Now you saw how many different things were happening, right? I'm going to go through it just with body weight, okay, which is called a naked Get Up. Now, you know how you do that Get Up. If you do it completely naked, that's up to you. It's just called the naked Get Up, all right? But the naked Get Up, if your shoulder mobility, so I'm going to come up like this. So if you have a very, I would say, kyphotic person at upper back, right? Tough shoulder mobility, forward head posture, and they're just not in a place to be able to get their hands overhead. They just don't have that good mobility. Like using weights in a Turkish Get Up is just not a smart idea because it's going to look something like this, right? They're going to be rounded, and when they come up, right, they will not be able, they don't have that thoracic mobility, right, to get in a good position. So they will literally be here. So whether it's a dumbbell or a kettlebell, this is just going to stress the shoulder, okay? Now, does that mean that we shouldn't be doing a Turkish Get Up? No, we're just going to do a naked Get Up with just body weight, right? Because we can still use all these movement patterns that are great to develop, but we're just not going to, risk with any type of weight. So a naked Get Up, think about it, it's the same thing, right? We're going to be in this position and move this bell. Always move bells for safety, right? The hand's going to be up. We're going to still drive. Okay? So they might be a little tighter here. That's all right. We're going to work on this, okay? Still drive up. Still push through. Still turn and drive. All right? That's just the Get Up. Now here's the thing is if you have somebody that's deconditioned or just starting off, that's like 5 reps on each side of that is going to be challenging, right? They're going to get their heart rate up, sweating, but they're working right now, right? If we got the glute firing, working hip mobility, working core, okay? Coming down here, we're working shoulder stability, okay? Then we're working glute activation, popping through here, hips again, right? Coming down, core, and the whole time, like I said, we're working the mobility and stability of that shoulder at the same time, okay? Now we kind of went over, what the Turkish Get Up is, how you can use kettlebells, you can use dumbbells, you can use body weight, okay? Like I said, I strongly prefer kettlebells to this movement, but if you're in a big box club and, and they don't have kettlebells, you can use a dumbbell. Now, how do we program it? Why do we, where do we use it? Where does it even come into play, right? It's a full body exercise, obviously, right? So if you're doing body part splits, hey, consider this, you could put it into the category of core training, you could put it into the category of dynamic warm-ups, and like I said, you could put it into a category of a full body movement, right? Strength and stability, but we'll also use it for conditioning. So I'm going to break down how we usually use it, right? We use Turkish Get Ups a lot in warm-ups, okay, with light weight and really controlling movement, right? Really working on like the quality and perfection of that movement. Because not only, the more we slow it down, the more we focus on how good each rep is, the harder it becomes, but the more the client, right, becomes, mastering the skill of the movement, but also stabilizing those muscles. Because when you rush through it, you'll start compensating left and right, okay? So we could use it in a couple of ways. We'll do a lot of naked get-ups, like I said, with beginner clientele and that have a tight, for instance, thoracic spine. Now, here's the great part about it. Like every part of the get-up, we can actually do some mobility in each position. Okay, so what we'll do, and you can do this with weight or without weight, all right? So if somebody has a weak area or something that they need to work on, for instance, right, we're in this position. We could literally do multiple reps at each position. So we're coming up and control that. All right, so we could do, for instance, 5 reps here. Okay, maybe this is their weak link. We could go 5 reps here. So now we're working hip mobility, we're working core, we're working shoulder stability. Okay? From this position, we could literally go here and back down and here, right? And then just the lunge up. So you can break the movement down with just body weight with multiple reps per position, and then people start mastering that position and really working it well. Now the key is not to, right? The key is not to, I would say, take a load where it becomes tough on the shoulder and then you can't do it anymore. And like sometimes, like I said, we may just work from the bottom up and just work the first 2 positions for 3 to 5 reps and then end of set and other side, right? Like I said, break it down. You're gonna notice where you're good, where you're not good, where you need to work on it, okay? The other thing is, once we are doing certain movements, so for instance, when we're coming up here, right, we're driving this. So now, if you have somebody that's very rounded, we're gonna keep their abs braced, and then they're gonna work thoracic mobility. So opening up their chest and back, and open up and back. So now we are just working, keeping those abs tight. So I'm not moving my low back, right? So just my upper back, rounding here, and push that sternum out, right? So we can do 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, depending on how tight they are, and they're going to start improving their thoracic mobility with their shoulder stability, okay? So now there's a lot of different things we can do. We can move the neck in those positions, right? There's many, many different things that we can do that will improve that. And those would be all movements that we're doing in warm-ups. We're not using those things, like I said, for strength, right? Now, we could, but let me run it back and say that we never do more than 5 reps per side in Turkish get-ups, right? It starts becoming an endurance thing for the shoulder, and things start breaking now. So up to 5 per side without a break. Okay, when we're going heavy, like I said, we may go do 3. We might do 1 and 1. Okay, if we're using it as conditioning at the end of a training session, we might do what's called escalating density training. Put 10 minutes on the clock, right? 8, 10, 12, and take a bell that's not really. I mean, it's decently heavy, and then you're just gonna go 1 Turkish get up right, 1 Turkish get up left, right, left, till the time is up. Right, and then we're going to build that into the program, so over time, you can get more and more reps within that same time period, right? So that's how we'd use it basically for density and conditioning purposes, okay? Now, here's the thing. What I would say is we don't use it for a max strength movement or anything like that, right? Now, we do want to, as somebody becomes more proficient at this, we want to load them up, right? So maybe before even a deadlift in a push workout, we might do some warm-up stuff, do some naked get-ups with mobility, right? And work in certain rep ranges and dissecting the movement, and then go to 2 sets of a heavy triple, or 2 sets of 2, or 3 sets of 2. So we won't go like too many sets, but just really mastering that movement and breaking it down. Because like I said, once you can carry heavier loads and your whole body's connected, it's not only great for warm-ups, but hey, you get all that nervous system connection going on before you go into a heavier lift, right? Now, another way that we love to do it, like I said, is like slowing things down so we can get control, okay? I'm gonna use a light bell, and think about like doing a video and just pressing slow-mo on that video. That's essentially what we're going to do when I'm showing you this one. This is another way where you can use lighter weights, keep them safer. Right, so I'm moving very slow. I can slow this down even more. Right, just very, very, very slow movements. A lot of control. Stepping up, right? And like I said, we can slow this down even more significantly. Use a lighter weight, stepping back. Really, 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 really controlled. I mean, you can do 5 seconds on every single thing that you're doing. Turning the hips slow. All right, so imagine it takes you maybe 45 seconds, even a minute, to do a certain movement. But what it's taking, and I'll speed this up a little bit, right? So what it's taking is a lot of control, right? And you'll notice that when people, not just Turkish Get Up, but when other movements, single leg movements, Bulgarian split squats, you'll see people want to drop into it, right? So when we slow down the movement, the muscles have to control and stabilize, right? And it really helps people gain control over the movement and work those muscles that maybe if they were speeding it up, were not working because they would be compensating. They drop into it, the joints would overwork, the muscles wouldn't work, right? So once again, this would be another, slowing down the movement for us at Vigor. We'd use this at the beginning, lighter weights, gaining control, really working stability, working core, working all, essentially joint by joint movement patterns, right, within one exercise. So you can see how it can be used in so many different ways. But, bottom line, if you look at the Turkish Get Up, it's one of the most, I would say, foundational functional things that a human should be able to do, which is get down on the floor and get back up from it, right? So, and I know that sounds like, hey, everybody can do that, but you'd be amazed, and I don't just think like, hey, older people, you'd be amazed just putting somebody on the ground and saying get up and watching how they get up will determine where they are functionally, right? What's working, what's not working. Some people have a very hard time getting up, and it may take them multiple steps to do that, right? So if you're working with, like I said, people that are very sedentary or for a long period of time that haven't trained or older, that means that, this is a great way to start getting them functional, and right? It's a ground-based, it starts as a ground-based movement and works on the way up. It's like pretty much, think of it like baby, right? It's like laying, crawling, standing, half kneeling, standing up. So there's so many great things about it, and that, pretty much I don't care what, program you're doing, this can be put into the program as something, right? Like I said, it could be used as warm-ups, core work, just foundational warm-ups. I said that twice. It's that important. But also as conditioning at the end. And you could use it as full body strength to a degree, but like I said, not maximal strength. So, use the Turkish Get Up. Like you can do it with dumbbells, you can do it with kettlebells. If you don't feel like you're ready to do that, do it with just body weight. But definitely do it. And like even if you just do 3 sets of 5 on each side as a warm-up in your next workout, I guarantee you'll be warmed up better, you'll feel better, and you'll see how great the exercise is and how it can help you out. All right, so Coach Luca, Big Round Fitness and Performance, and I'll be seeing you guys again with some more tips on a lot of different stuff.